Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive headache for pretty much anyone working in finance, analytics, or management. I'm talking about the nightmare of transforming messy, chaotic spreadsheets into clear, powerful visual stories. Instead of losing days copying, pasting, and crossing your fingers that you didn't just break a formula, we're going to pull insights from industry guides and advanced training courses to show you exactly how to turn raw numbers into a beautiful, automated engine that actually drives business decisions. So let's jump right in.
Be honest, do your Excel reports take literally hours to update every month? Or maybe even every week? You spend all this time collating data, updating formulas, making sure the charts don't completely break, and then, after all that effort, you get the sinking feeling that nobody actually reads the reports anyway. It's a huge pain point. We sit on piles of crucial business data, but communicating that data effectively, that's where the real bottleneck happens.
To fix this, we've got a quick roadmap for today. 1. The data overload problem. 2. Essential financial KPIs. 3. The power of dashboards. 4. Dashboard design best practices. And 5. Creating dynamic dashboards. All right, starting with part 1, the data overload problem. A training program from the Institute of Business Administration tackles this exact frustration head-on, declaring, and I quote, "It doesn't have to be that way." And honestly, they hit the nail on the head. The core issue here is that managers and decision-makers do not want to dig through raw data. They don't want to need an accounting degree just to decipher your spreadsheet. What they actually need is the Cliff's Notes version of the company's financials. They need a high-level summary that instantly shows what's going well and what's on fire and needs attention.
Moving right along to Section 2, Essential Financial KPIs.
So let's define what we're actually talking about here. Financial Key Performance Indicators, or KPIs, are select metrics that give you a snapshot of the underlying financial and operational strength of a business. Think of a KPI exactly like a warning light on your car's dashboard. It lets business leaders focus on the big picture and steer the company without having to get mired in the nitty-gritty details of what's happening under the hood.
We can actually sort all this data noise into 5 broad buckets. You've got profitability KPIs, like your gross profit margin, liquidity KPIs, like the current ratio, efficiency KPIs, such as inventory turnover, valuation KPIs, like earnings per share, and finally, leverage KPIs, like debt to equity. By picking just a few critical metrics from these categories, you immediately start to clear out the clutter.
Now, tracking these metrics visually is absolutely crucial. When you plot a performance metric, like comparing your budget against your actuals over a few quarters, variance analysis becomes instantly understandable. Instead of hunting through endless rows of numbers just to figure out if you overspent in Q2, the visual does the heavy lifting for your brain. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the power of dashboards. You see, you really have to contrast what most people do with what they should be doing. Raw data dumps are messy, visually overwhelming, and highly error-prone. But dashboards, they are simple, automated, and here's the really cool part. You can use dynamic animations to turn them into an incredible visual storytelling tool. Dashboards pack a massive punch because they take complex financial analysis and distill it into a clear message that fits right on a single page. But to build a clean dashboard, you absolutely cannot mix your presentation with your calculation. Expert dashboard builders structure their files into 4 distinct layers. First, you have the data sources sheet, holding only raw data. Second, reference tables, which hold your conversion rules. Third, pivot tables to summarize that data. And fourth, the dashboard itself. You have to keep the engine hidden under the hood so your dashboard isn't bogged down by the visual clutter of raw calculations. Okay, Section 4, Dashboard Design Best Practices. There are some incredibly common mistakes that spreadsheet builders make. First, neon colors that literally hurt the eyes. Second, cluttered layouts that try to show everything all at once. And third, the dreaded 3D pie charts. Seriously, they visually distort the data. Just don't use them. The fixes are simple. Use muted colors with only a few bright accents to highlight key points. Put your most critical data at the top left because that's where our eyes naturally start. And stick to clear, simple 2D charts. We can actually summarize this into a rule of 5 for design. 1. Highlight key data at the top. 2. Use muted colors. 3. Keep a clean, simple layout. 4. Ensure clear charts by ditching unnecessary grid lines and backgrounds. And 5. Add interactive controls, which we're going to use in just a second to bring the whole thing to life. If you follow this checklist, your reports will instantly look professional.
Take a perfectly formatted donut chart breaking down monthly operating expenses, for example. It has no distracting backgrounds. The colors are muted and complementary. By keeping the design this clean, the end user, whether that's your CEO or a marketing manager, can immediately grasp the story. Rent and payroll take up the biggest chunks. It takes zero mental effort to figure that out.
Finally, Section 5, creating dynamic dashboards. Building dynamic automated charts is a highly sought-after professional skill. In fact, professional course outlines for dashboard reporting, like the curriculum from the Institute of Business Administration we looked at earlier, dedicate entire modules to creating dynamic and interactive charts. It is exactly what employers are actively looking for because it saves a company an immense amount of time.
So, what are the tools that actually power this interactivity? It comes down to a few really powerful functions. You use data validation to create simple drop-down menus. Then you use formulas like SUMIFS and SUMPRODUCT to pull in data based on what's selected in that drop-down. And finally, you use conditional formatting to instantly turn positive variances green and negative variances red. When you combine these, your spreadsheet completely comes to life. You change a month in the dropdown, and instantly the entire dashboard shifts. Charts dynamically resize, conditional formatting snaps into red or green, and you get these beautiful automated animations as the data pops onto the screen in real time. It transforms a static grid into a living application. And the best part? Zero manual copying and pasting required. So the crucial point is this. We collect data not just to store it, but to understand it. By filtering out the noise with KPIs, separating your data engine from your visuals, using clean design principles, and adding dynamic, animated interactivity, you stop being just a data collator and start being a strategic advisor. Look at your own reports today. Ask yourself, what story is your data telling? And honestly, is anyone actually able to hear it? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helps you bring absolute clarity to your financial reporting.